And also, Kickus, his most played is Lee Sin. His name might actually even be after Lee Sin. Just kicking people into everybody. But he has a ton of games on that. And then his second most played is like a third of that. So he's really known for his Lee Sin play.
Well, we'll see if he can kind of keep up with something else in the roster, though. Lulu going to be grabbed right away for ForeverZenzzyg. And now SKP Prime going to look at just the old standby lanes. Why the heck not? Lucian, Thresh, a great duo lane overall. No bans aside from the Kate. Dropped the bottom lane champs, and they're just going to go for this one.
Yeah, I was really surprised when they banned away the Gragas on blue side right now for ForeverZenzzyg. But Lulu, Gragas are really the S tier of top lane. Gragas actually beats Lulu in a head-to-head, but Lulu will scale later into the game, even if she's shut down. Like Gragas, if you shut him down, he's kind of limp in the late game. He's not very effective. So they ban that away, first pick the Lulu for themselves, and secure that matchup, because that's going to be a safe lane now. There's nothing currently in the game that holds toe-to-toe with that.
At least something that people have shown so
Discovered,
far. I mean, that's the thing, is like champs come out of nowhere all the time. People hadn't played top Lulu despite not being changed in forever, and then realized that she was good. So it's always fun to see like, oh man, this jungle Riven's the new thing. I want to see how the adaptations keep going on. Morgana support against Thresh, skill matchup there. The Evelynn jungle with Lee Sin dropped away. Great pick as well.
Yeah, I like that. And this is looking like a more and more supporty team. They're going to need some hyper carries in here. Kog'Maw still up. Lucian picked away. Tristana still up as well. Kobe's going to have to go with something along those lines, because the Caitlyn band away Lucian picked, it's really all he has left.
Right, and I feel like, knowing his champion pool, I feel like Tristana would be the most thematically accurate to what he plays, right? Long range, has escapes, that would fit the bill. And again, you play a hyper carry with a bunch of supporty champions, and like, great, it's all kinds of synergy right there in the mix. But we'll have to see what he actually wants to go for. If he wants to play more spellcaster.
Senkux might go for Yasuo.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. I was like,
you want to jump
Epiphany.
In there. Yeah, no, Epiphanies are very worthwhile jumping into, because you never know. But looks like he's not going to pick that just yet. I mean, it could be Ryze mid or top. Normally, most people have that in their pools regardless. I don't see a lot of Ryze from Smitty, but you never know.
Ryze is actually pretty decent against Yasuo. Your binding, your Rune Prism can go through the wind wall, and then you can just reposition yourself around it. Also, his cooldowns are so low that you can get in between wind wall cooldowns very easily. Around that 5-second mark, and then you just reduce them more. Yeah,
basically Rune Prison is the big part of it. Is you can stop his dash mid dash with Rune Prison. It's the best word I could use for that one. It's a verb too, ha! And that one doesn't get blocked up by the wind wall, so it makes life pretty easy for you in that case. Do have to be slightly concerned about the Kog'Maw versus Lucian matchup in this specific case, just because you can get harassed down, but if ForeverZenzzyg can play around that, then Kobe's going to be pretty well set up. Senkux going to make his own choices. Again, you can't just guarantee where that Ryze goes, but we've seen Syndra versus Ryze a number of times, especially in the North American LCS. And it's actually tended to go Ryze's way from what I've actually seen.
Yes. Yeah, it has been, which is a little surprising to me that he's going to go with the Syndra here, but he's trusting his ranges. He's trusting that he can stay out of his little mid-range zone and just use the long-range pick of Syndra, because you can Fog of War bush somebody. If you clear the wave and then you roam, it's usually in Syndra's favor, because even if you don't roam all the way and you stand in a bush, you can pick people off very easily with a full combo.
And that's the cool thing about Syndra, is she's just so good at picking people off. In terms of like, I know, like, I think like the beginning of this year, the end of last year, one of the big things commentators would talk about in Champ Select is like what a comp would try to do. And be like, this is a pick comp, this is a team fight comp, this is a split pushing team. Syndra definitely falls under the pick category of champions. One of the longest range stuns in the game with a max range QE combo, a lot of single target bursts. So you can create a lot of pressure that way by saying, hey, there's a Syndra on the loose, you know, hide your back line. It is going to be Ryze top, Orianna mid here for SK Prime, so their lineup has come together now. Seeming very team fight focused, actually, specifically. And ForeverZenzzyg, I feel like Kog'Maw's actually pretty safe outside the laning phase.
Yeah, he's very safe. They have a lot of CC, a lot of peel for him. They don't really have a designated tank. Lulu will make somebody a little tanky, and Evelynn will eventually get there. You know, I don't always trust her as a tank, though.
No, me
personally.
Either.
She's very squishy, just in base and things like that.
Yeah.
And also the fact you really want to build the Lizard Elder on her and get that going.
Right.
So breaking the team comps down, SK Gaming really looked like they go for a wombo combo, ball and delivery with AoE on top of that, with a safe bottom lane. And then ForeverZenzzyg look like they have a little more pick-oriented with some Kog'Maw team fighting, but it's a multi-threat pronged team.
True.
Kog'Maw, Syndra, you have a lot of focuses here that are very squishy, and if you divide them, you might be able to conquer. and the fact that Evelyn is going to be trying to come in and flank and set up the fight, you have a lot of things that it's on the shot calling of the enemy team to figure out who we focus, who's in range to focus, because these are very long-range threats.
Yeah, absolutely the case. And if someone gets caught out, Jarvan goes in, the team's not ready, you're going to die to a Cogmon in like 4 seconds or less. So you've definitely got some concerns here on both sides. You play it right there, you're going to be good to go. Game 1 about to be started up here. Best of 3 once again. You win the game, you win the series, you are in the postseason playoffs. That's a pretty important point right here. As the bracket goes on, we can see who's going to be able to guarantee themselves a bye in the first round and how high the seeds can go. But it's going to be the big test to see how well these teams can play right now in this series. This is the test right in front of them now.
See if they're up to it right now. Standard utility for Rise, and the mana coming through with the Sapphire Crystal.
530. He almost has more mana than health level 1. Not quite, though.
It's a lot of extra base damage on his abilities.
Yes. He will hit you rather hard.
He's also running movement speed in his quintessences. He's running with the,
okay.
It looked like
it's pretty standard.
377 move speed. That was actually quite fast.
If you go deep utility, you have the out-of-combat move speed, the extra move speed, the 1.5% from the Tier 1 Mastery. Looks like SK
Booking it.
Yeah, they are running in here to look for some plays down to the jungle. I don't remember if they got spotted by the initial ward put down to the front side, but look at all these pings they're going for, saying, hey, check out people might be over here. Look, put your wards down. It is a very safe warding expedition for ForeEVERZENZYG. They actually pinged out both wards that came down for SK Prime's invade. So 4EZ knows actually everything that has happened so far in the early game.
Yeah, but all these wards from ForeEVEREZ, they're going to have a lot of coverage of this early game. You said they see everything. They're going to see it for a very long time. They're going to know which buff is started at, and they're going to know what SK Prime knows about them. That's a big thing, too. Because if you know what your enemy knows about you, you're like, okay, we can juke them. We can make sure that Lulu doesn't show himself so that they don't get a 2v1, things like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing is the wards are also going to time out soon enough that Evelyn can actually remain hidden by the time she's gotten to her second buff here as well. So Rollighead, it's actually the guy's last name, by the way.
Yeah.
Learned that one. He tweeted at us. And here we go. So the beginning of the jungle starts. Both jungles going red buff. Kikis will end his route on the southeastern side. Rollighead will actually be towards the top lane when he finishes his buffs.
Completely on the opposite end there. So we'll have to see if they group up middle, but at the same time, it's a very safe bottom lane for SKP. They can choose to snowball it and try to shut down Kobe and his Kog'Maw, which can be very deadly in the late game and just keep him down. Or they can try to get the Rise going. They can try to get the gank assistance up there, but it's very hard to gank a Lulu.
Yeah.
Maybe a little easier.
Even the Lulu's a pretty rough gun. Kikis, though, actually wants to try to invade and take something. I don't think he sees Evelyn right now, though, but he just does his basic timing of when a jungler would finish the camp. Kikis using his just knowledge of jungling to get this gank.
He's just going to walk straight up. Jarvan's very good at brawling at level 2.
All right, there's the auto attack for the slow. There's the flash.
Gets the flash and doesn't even go for the blue because the collapse from Senkux.
Very smart play, though. He does actually burn a lot of health and mana. Smitty getting good damage on a Wonderwear, so now SKP is the better top lane. This could be enough to take the buff away.
Yeah, Wonderwear half HP right now. He does have some biscuits for him. That's warded up, and they're going to be able to see Kikis doing this buff now.
And he won't see Rollighead.
This could be bad for Kikis if they collapse
down. He is out of mana right now, does have his summoners. Eve has smite, but no flash. Smite, nicely done there. Kikis takes it with an auto attack. Rollighead smited too early.
They're collapsing on him. He's going to have to get over the wall.
He can EQ. He's fine.
Yeah, he also has flash, so either of them would work.
Nice move.
Ooh, good
turning back
move there. Yeah, the lack of a collapse from Wonderwear and Senkux, they were trying to push the wave up, but they couldn't do it in time.
And I got to say, though, just dodging the EQ from...
Senkux.
Yeah, exactly. That would have actually canceled the flag toss. The jump would have forced the flash out. So beautifully played there. Kikis gets the early invade successfully. Very, very nicely done. Rollighead now forced just to farm his own jungle, and until he gets Spirit Stone, this guy's going to be hurting for mana pretty heavily.
Oh yeah, even though Eve passive will give him some mana back as a percentage while he's invisible, you don't spend a lot of time invisible in the early game.
Nope. He's going to recall back. Should have enough money for that item now at least.
Yeah, he's going to have to back and rush that. Whereas if you look over at Kikis, he already got himself a longsword. And man, that's such a solo queue thing to do too. Just bully the jungler by yourself. But then he got complete vision of it. He knew the situation, and he's communicating with his laners, which is a 5v5 rank thing to do.
Yep.
And it's fantastic to see that type of play at this level.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what's not solo queue thing to do is buy a pink ward on your first back.
Yes.
That is one of the most unselfish things you can do, is drop 100 gold on not combat stats, but it will allow him to spot the Evelynn moves a little bit more. There's his easily secured blue buff, had that under control the whole time, so Kikis completes the 3-buff start for the team. Rollick had already out of buffs himself.
Yeah, and Kikis, no stranger to team play. We talked about it. So many teams for him under his belt, kind of etched onto a wall or a placard somewhere. It's a really big placard at this point, but he's looking for that winner.
Got a lot of notches in his computer case.
Yeah, there you go. Pulls out the pocket knife. There we go.
One more team. Rollick at level 3, actually not too far behind Kikis. One level down, but that's not the end of the world necessarily. Bottom lane is holding pretty close to equal. I got to point out what happened early on. Ooh, okay. He swept a ward with that, so they know the pink ward's down there. But we saw the pink ward come down.
Yeah. Another big thing, though, is that Kikis is level 4. He's also on that side of the jungle. He might run into Evelynn here, and Evelynn cannot duel Jarvan in the early game. We saw it just a moment ago. Even with the blue buff on her, wouldn't have made a difference. Jarvan's early game is fantastic when he's fighting, especially somebody like an Evelynn.
Yeah.
Lee Sin, it's pretty much a little even in Lee Sin's favor, but he's going for this gank down bottom, and Evelynn is not there.
EQ goes in, gets the knock-up onto Morgana, who puts Black Shield down, but is so low on HP right here. Here comes the Orianna for the roam down. First blood goes through, the Ignite tick comes through.
Going for it.
He does get the Ignite down in time. Orianna claims the kill for the Ignite herself. Summoner Heal getting her safe, and look at that, SK Prime already start the game 2-0.
They've got Summoner Heal just flat out saved him there. Z's coming up big with that one. And that's 2 kills of First Blood going over to SKP, giving them almost 1,000 gold lead at the 6-minute mark. Just a huge play and collapse by this entire team.
Absolutely beautiful stuff by them. So a great set of teamwork there. Senkux could sweep the pink ward out. Yeah, there he goes. I gotta say, though, small misplay by Sweaty B to have not Black Shielded himself when the Jarvan knockup came through, or to have flashed it. And it's something actually that Fisher talked about really briefly in the last game we just watched in the LCS. Sometimes players, they'll flash after the CC and take a bunch of damage beforehand, and you still die when that happens a lot of the time.
Yeah, using your flash preemptively, or even when you know they'd be in range for the ability, is actually better than waiting for the ability to land and then flashing after.
Absolutely it is.
Especially in the early game.
Oh, yeah. But unfortunately for EverZenzzyg, they do drop down 2 kills so far, and Kikis has still been a part of everything. So as far as replacement junglers go, I would take a 0-0-2 job and he stole a buff. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I would definitely take that too. He's down a level, but he's about to get that for himself because Rollighead, he's just been running around farming. His impact on the game has been very minimal. And also I want to point out, the thing that allowed that gank to happen was that Kikis set up that pink ward, cleared the ward, then roamed down, provided pressure in that side of the jungle, but that allowed Orianna to just walk there, knew there was a pink ward, and his route was completely unscouted.
It was beautiful stuff by these guys. So I got to give a lot of props to SKP so far. They're playing this game pretty close to correct. The only downside, and it's really not a very big one, is the fact that they're not really hurting Kog'Maw's minion kills. He's only down 4 against Lucian. And with Z's just having assists, they're not really that far apart in item parity. And late game Kog'Maw is always something to be very concerned about as a team.
Yeah, and they're both going for those attack speed items first. It's going to be the Trinity Force versus the Blade of the Ruined King here. Trinity Force Kog'Maw, very common. Saw that today as well.
Kikis spending a lot of time getting ward coverage more so than just farming. Now looks for the mid lane gank. Not going to find that one. Okay. Rollickhead is actually staying in the fog of war for now. None of the wards exist in the southern jungle. Nice hook on Kobe. The Black Shield incredibly late here, and he's 1 hit from dead. The Q won't quite do enough thanks to the exhaust of Sweaty B, keeping his teammate alive.
Thankfully, he threw out the Black Shield so that he couldn't get flayed backwards.
Yeah.
That would have been the complete death of him. And now, Rollickhead looking for something down bottom, but his lane has to back. He wouldn't have any gank assistance or damage.
Here's the interesting thing, though, is Kikis is ready to keep the pressure on this side of the map. He's basically choosing one side of the map and saying, okay, I'm going to crush you at blue buff, then I'm going to control bottom lane, then I'm going to go back to controlling blue buff. Yeah, that respawns. Senkuk's coming by. Do they have Orianna in time to do anything?
Down the pink ward. He has it warded himself, so he's able to see it.
EQ.
Oh, it got smited.
EQ smite comes through, actually gets picked up by somebody, and that's going to be Kikis dropping for his greed, basically, on that one. Had no way out. Gets exploded now. The Glitlens comes out for a Wonderwear. This could be a stun as well. Onto Smitty the slow. One more time from Senkux as well. Has the red buff. Shockwave onto 2. Will let the team get away, but that was all kinds of greedy by Kikis.
Yeah, Kikis went straight in, didn't have his flash to get out, and he got blown up by Senkux in just a tiny combo.
You gotta be careful, man. You are basically full squishy as Jarvan. I know most of the junglers tend to start 21 points offense in Masteries, and I'm silly for not knowing this for sure, but I feel like Jarvan's one of those as well.
Yeah.
He would put 21 offense, 9 points defense, not a lot of tank stats early game, and gets punished without having any defensive items.
Yeah, you typically do that so you can brawl other junglers, you can 1v1 them. Because if you didn't, you'd just be a tanky little wall and just buy time, but that doesn't allow you to invade, because then the more time you buy it and invade, the more time the enemy has to collapse on you.
Absolutely. So, Kikis, unfortunately, too squishy for that one. Bottom lane actually starting to spread apart a little bit more. The recall for Khan gets him a phage, but that also means a 18 minion lead here for the SKP bottom lane. You're seeing them up 1,000 gold overall as a team. They are doing pretty well in this game, despite being, I guess, slightly lower or worse seeded in this tournament.
Yeah, I don't know how indicative that is of their play, though.
Not much. It's just rank wise, basically.
Yeah, not very much at all. Rolling head, gonna get. Ooh.
He predicted the juke directions, was slightly out of range. Now Zaitan's got to be real careful. The ulti comes in from Sweaty B as well. Good damage coming through. There's the stun. There's the damage from Kog'Maw. Summoner heal actually keeps him alive. Great play by Z's, keeps his team alive. Now Kobe going to fall. They trade kills back and forth. Morgana wins out with the Dark Binding. TP was used, then stopped by Wonderwear.
I don't know if it was stopped or Smitty interrupted it with Rune Prison.
Either way, I mean,
yeah.
At this point he shouldn't have gone through anymore, but I think Rune Prison might have been a big part of that.
So we saw the ultimate blown by Smitty there too. Looked like to possibly close the distance. He had a little bit of a tell on it, interrupt it. I mean, at the same time, yeah, he went up for it because if he was able to go there, he might have been able to convert that into a dragon.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, you're right about that. Dragon with the kill is actually a pretty reasonable objective. That's not the case here, though. And Wonderwear's teleport is now on cooldown, and in fact, a longer one than Smitty's will be. So it's SKP who have the teleport advantage thanks to that one. But this game got a little bit closer there. We're staying within about 1,000 gold, but kills are obviously trading back and forth now.
Yeah, and the CS here is actually something to be concerned about. Kobe's down over Z's. We expected that because it was such a bully lane from the Thresh Lucian. But in the top lane, Smitty on Rise is actually ahead of Wonderwear right now, and he doesn't have a TP in his back pocket.
And he also has a lot of damage coming through right now as well. Wonderwear's got to be pretty careful on this one. Shields himself, but it only is worth so much.
If he backs, he can't TP back to lane. He's going to lose a lot of CS.
Absolutely the case. The core mana items are also already done for Smitty, so he's going to keep standing up. He's going to keep charging the tier. Honestly, life is pretty good if you're Rise in this game.
Yeah, he doesn't have his TP either, but it'll be up sooner.
Right.
So that they can start contesting the dragon at that point. There's a lot of pink wards, though, on this side of the dragon by 4EVERZENZYG.
Oh, yeah.
That haven't been spotted out yet. And Kikis looking for a gank.
Speaking of not getting spotted out, getting in behind Senkuk's ulti shockwave. Actually, the flash dodges both of them.
Oh, does he have the damage?
He's going to have close to enough Ignite. Not quite going to deal enough, but What the Fox actually claims the revenge kill anyway. Wow, Senkuk's overextends to try to turn the kill back. Just gets blown up for it.
Yeah, Kikis getting a level up there. Got away with about 150 HP. So he wasn't in danger from the Ignite. What the Fox? Nope.
Probably it stops the recall, but unfortunately, it seems like aside from a couple of bouts of over-aggression by SK Prime, they're just generally making better plays here. 4EVERZENZYG are really only getting their kills off of fights that SKP starts. They're actually not making moves of their own.
Yeah, that's true. They aren't being proactive. They aren't initiating fights.
When you've got a Syndra, like that is a fight-engaging champion. You've got an Evelyn to run around, get behind people, be stealth. I mean, there's been great pink ward coverage by SKP. They've been trying very hard to get pink wards down. I think probably about 5 or more have been bought so far this game, 13 minutes in. But point still stands. There just hasn't been aggression by 4EVERZENZYG.
Keeping the first dragon in mind right now because it's almost 13 minutes and 37 seconds in the game.
Woo!
Yeah. Shout out to that. But in order to set up the dragon for either of these teams, 4EVERZENZYG, they need to get a pick before they start it. And SKP, they need to just team fight at the dragon or let 4EVERZENZYG start it first. Because they're actually fine just getting objective.
Yeah.
Slowly closing this game out. Because look at that, the 2K gold up.
They're winning their lanes.
Just because they're winning lanes.
They're just winning their lanes. That's all it is.
So they don't have to force the dragon yet. There's no reason to. Let 4EVERZENZYG start it, just have better positioning than them, and then pick them off in the dragon team fight with your AoE. Or take it once you pick somebody off. But we'll see.
Oh, that binding barely missed. Great Lantern, and Zeus is alive.
not capitalizing off of a flash is really bad in terms of resource expenditure. And look at that, the TP coming in, rolling in, he's caught.
Great play, good flash to get away from the box, but here comes the flash, Rune Prison from Rise, kill picked up, and this one is going to be a dragon.
Kill the jungler, get yourself a dragon with a smite. Kikis, he has it available. There'd have to be a wonderful steal here by the rest of 4EVERZENZYG.
Ooh, okay, good smite. Yeah, there's a lot of bursts coming out, but they played that one exactly correctly. Good job by Kikis, and he's now 0-1-4. He's been a part of many kills for his team. And this is a team that just is playing quite well. The new jungler has worked out for SKP quite nicely.
Yeah, it definitely has, replacing Broken Shard in here, who got them where they are right now. But Kikis came in, a little bit of better KDA, but his playstyle isn't actually too far off. I would just say he's a little less aggressive and less of a forcer. But look at this.
Look at, speaking of forcing things, there goes another 2 ultimates. These two have been ulting together a couple of times now. Each time a kill does come out in the end, so now 4,000 gold lead. SKP very much in control.
Yeah, and on that point I was just saying, Broken Shard's more of a forcer, Kikis is more of a capitalizer. He sees little opportunities, he's like, oh, I can take advantage of that, flashes down, I will take that with a Cataclysm. I will force them to do this, or capitalize off of that. Uses mistakes very wisely.
Well, this time around he's not going to be able to steal the blue buff away from Sencooks, but you know what? That's okay, judging by how it went last time. So Kikis is just going to be back on his own side of the jungle, but I agree with you. He is capitalizing on things very, very well, and that is the big thing that I think is making SKP win this game, is they are finding these openings to make moves. When SweatyB went for the flash engage, he got lanterned out, and the aggression failed, unfortunately. And it's just a very big tale over and over again of when SKP tries, it works. When 4EC tries, it doesn't.
Yeah, and speaking of that flash trying to bind, right there, we just saw the Cataclysm on a target that didn't have the flash available, without it being a tower dive, without it being too forced of a play.
Okay, so back we wait for ults one more time. Box down, Shockwave down, Cataclysm down. SKP tend to be waiting around these cooldowns for most of their moves. Dragon gone as well, but they're not really making any major breaks from the laning phase otherwise. It's just, hey, we have a jungler here. Cool, let's make a play for a while. Keeping wards in control, and as the turrets do start to go down, I want to see just how SKP continues to control the map. Still mostly defensive pink wards, not very aggressive ones just yet, but they're starting to play into the enemy jungle.
Another lantern. That almost put him into the binding on the way out.
But yeah, that binding was wide though. Like SweatyB was predicting a juke to the south, and just like walks right by. Lucia gets to wait, grab a lantern, get out. Like none of this is working. None of the catches are working. None of the binds are working. None of this is really catching their opponents. And I don't feel like this is a game where you can say, well, don't worry, 40-minute Kog'Maw.
He's going to try to force the flash here from Wonderwear.
He does.
He does, yeah.
All right, EQ ulti, 10% CDR from Lizard Elder, and otherwise just going to wait for that cooldown to come back up in about 2 minutes time. Mid lane under fire. Good move by SKP, and in fact, they have the resources, I think, to take this turret down right there. Brutalizer plus Ruin King, and down it goes.
Evelyn's off on the side. Kobe is trying to get in here, but they aren't going to engage it. Once again, 4EVERZENZYG, they just can't find the opening to engage a fighter to start it off.
SKP have done a very good job then to keep anything from happening to themselves whatsoever. You know, a decent amount of ward control. They do keep a couple of pink wards down on the map at all times, and they're overall not getting caught out whatsoever as they slowly churn through the base of 4EVERZENZYG. And every few minutes, something else falls.
Yeah, just getting little capitalizations, just making that lead a little bigger and a little bigger until it's going to be this gigantic ball. Because 4EVERZENZYG right now, they aren't making plays. They aren't making moves that would get them into the game. And at the same time, they're not really capitalizing on anything that SKP does or countering it. Right now, they're just kind of like, all right, we're trying to play the lane phase. Let us do this. And SKP's like, no. But they keep getting kills off it, and 4EVERZENZYG don't react appropriately. They're trying to play passive for the late game.
Yeah, and I just don't feel like you have enough resources to do that. You're facing against a Ryze for, you know, like, Ryze is like the best late game top laner in competitive right now in terms of what it's going to bring to a team. Like, Kog'Maw's great, but like, Kog'Maw's a catchable champion. You've got Shockwave Cataclysm. Like, Kobe isn't always safe 100% of the time. You can't Black Shield Cataclysm, you know? So you've got very real risks here that, again, as we talked about, you can't just wait for late game here. We're going to see how the rest of the builds come through. Looks like SweatyB might be looking for Aegis with the double Ruby Crystal. That's the only thing I can think of that would build out of those two items. So some more magic resist for the team when you're facing Orianna Ryze. That makes a whole bunch of sense. But basically, so since the only team we're really seeing make plays is SKP, I just want to kind of keep looking at them and what they do, because you realize, so first of all, if they win this series, they do go into the playoffs. But from the playoffs, you have to actually win in top 3 to make the promo tournament. So this is a team that is going to have more tough competition ahead of them. Not even just for representing for the rest of this series, but if they even go farther, teams going to look at them to beat them in playoffs. They're going to want to be able to beat other top teams like H2K, whom I believe they will play in the semis if they win here.
It'll be a rematch, too, because they got 2-0'd by H2K previously.
Right.
But that means we also haven't seen their full potential or what they're actually like, because H2K...
Yeah, they beat everybody.
They 2-0'd NIP in the finals.
Right.
So it's like, is SKP on NIP level? Don't quite know.
Yeah. And the test really for me is always like, can you keep pushing your advantages forward? That's always like the easy litmus test for me, is if you stall out for a while with a gold lead, I feel like you're generally missing opportunities. And basically, all we've really seen from SKP since the last Dragon was they sieged mid once. That's a little bit concerning to me, just because I feel like there should be more plays available, ways to rest ward control, take us out of the jungle, steal a blue or red buff. Not seen any of that yet.
Yeah, and right now, since the last Dragon, it's been 6 minutes. It's about to come up again, and 4EVERZENZYG are in a position right now to set up for it.
Okay, 4EZ have grouped up. Pick. They got the stun into Zaitan. There comes a bit of burst, but no Syndra ulti comes through. They didn't commit to actually killing off the Thresh. He loses a bit of health, but he's back in this game, and SKP are going to start Dragon for themselves. Both top laners have TP.
Well, the vision of it is there. Rollickhead, not envisioned quite yet. Smite distance. They're going to try to smite fight this.
Smite fight comes out, and it goes to kick us right there, and now the engage comes through. Shockwave hits only one, but he goes down thanks to Rise, even despite the wild growth. Into the back line goes Kickus. He finds Sencooks as well. Ulti hits Kickus, but he's going to stay alive through the shields, and more kills keep coming through. 3 so far. The rest of the team forced to run away on this one. SKP winning again.
Huge team fight there coming out on top. WattFox still has Flash. Don't know if he's going to try to keep going for this one. Instead, they're just going to get some objectives off of it. No, he actually does want this. He flashes the binding.
Flash the binding, finds Kobe. In comes Kickus as well. Mid-tier 2 is going to be theirs for sure. We'll see if they can grab much more. Only 22 minutes into the game, and these guys are in a commanding 9,000 gold lead already.
Off of that Dragon and that team fight, the 4 for 0, and now they're going to get an inhibitor turret for it, or at least attempt to get one.
That's going to be their turret for sure. It's a 5v4, so out they go. Jumps to his own flag, and this is going to be a safe situation. Now 10,000 gold the lead. Very significant margin there. SKP, well, they waited for the next Dragon, but when they took it, man, did they explode.
Yeah, that was the type of situation I was talking about, where 4EVERZENZYG at the Dragon need to get a pick before it starts. They almost had the opportunity onto Zaitan. They couldn't blow him up, though. Then the team fight starts after SKP has started up the Dragon. And like I said, you want to bait 4EVERZENZYG into this fight if you're SKP. We see the smite from Kickus. He picks it up. The Shockwave hits one and gets another flash. And then Sweaty B comes back into the fight. And Wonderwear gets taken out despite using his ultimate. And they go straight for Sencooks. Kickus locks up the back line, and they just shred through everybody else. And this was exactly what SKP wanted coming into that Dragon. They wanted to have it started up, and the positioning with an Orianna, Jarvan, and the rest of their team, the Rise on top of it with the TP on the ward, was impeccable. And then he swaps over to Kobe here, and you see the final pickup.
I really like the little things he did, right? Walking over to pick up the ball, as well as like switching targets halfway through. He was like, I see a Morgana. Wait a second. I see a Kog'Maw. Good stuff. So SKP down the line. I think all the players are playing awesome. Every single lane they were winning. And Kickus had one over-aggressive move. That was it, and otherwise has been playing really on point. Hasn't missed a single smite all game either. That's actually an important skill. It's hard to track, but so far, he's been perfect.
Yeah, he has been. And the over-aggressive move that he made was the one for the buff steal, but then he ended up giving buffs over to the mid laner on Sencooks.
Ooh.
Sencooks didn't do too much with it.
More like I just want a smite fight. Took the big Wraith.
Oh. Kickus isn't perfect anymore.
Yep, never mind. It's trash. Replace him. Needs another new team next month. Just get dropped. He missed a big Wraith.
Look at that. Look at that gold difference between the two junglers, though. 1,600 just between the two.
Yeah, that is very, very rough. They just, and you talk about Evelynn not being a real tank. Oftentimes, this is a situation. Eve needs a gigantic gold lead to be a real tank in a game, and that is not going to be the case. Giant's Belts as the only tank item, 24 minutes in. Not exactly a durable champion. SKP, they don't go for Baron. They do have some ward coverage over it to a certain extent, but their game plan is actually, with this gold lead, let's siege bot. Here comes the push on in. Ball comes out to zone Kog'Maw, where you can see Kobe can't attack anything. It is just Sencooks who can defend this.
Speaking of durable champions, Kikis doesn't have any armor. He's gone all magic resistance now to withstand the combo from Sencooks, which has been his death the first time and almost killed him the second time.
I mean, you think about how fast they're playing this game. 20 minutes is about the time you're going to have roughly just Triforce and like some other kind of junk pieces while you wait for more items to come through. If Kog'Maw were ahead, if he had a good lane, if he had 230 CS, if he had a kill or two, if his team had dragons, he'd be sitting at about 2 items, and it would be a real threat for Kikis.
Yeah.
The fact that Kog'Maw only has Triforce, hasn't gotten any kills, hasn't even gotten much CS, you have to buy armor right now.
Yeah, and it's the 2-item spike for Z's at the same time. And he's been known to carry this team, but right now, everybody's pulling their weight. And they're all pretty fat.
Yep, they're all pulling a lot of weight right here. They all count for 2 champions, so it's basically 10 on 5 right now, and that's going to make life pretty difficult for ForeEVERZENZYG. Mid inhibitor nearly gone. Of course, they got that turret earlier off of the earlier Dragon Fight victory. Pokes are coming out, Wonderwear. Half HP though, stun lands into Rise. Rollick though, look at that, just takes so much damage. And there we go, inhibitor's gone. 25 minutes in.
The very fast inhibitor there for SK Prime. Z's picking that one up and backing out of the fight. And now, a minute until Dragon. Again, they keep getting these objectives before the Dragon comes up, and if they set up for it properly, it could be another one fight for them.
They absolutely could. I don't even think you'd contest at this point. Like, ForeEVERZENZYG needs some kind of miracle where they look at something that's not a 5-on-5, such as ganking them at Baron. Like, Dragon's not deadly enough to make that a 5-on-5 these guys could win. Like, Baron, maybe, and double Nexus turrets, maybe an inhibitor turret, but like, you need lopsided odds to make this work. You either find the random pick because of Evelynn Syndra, or you find a lopsided actual team fight. Those are the only ways I see ForeEVERZENZYG doing well here.
It'll be a big team fight, the next one that we see, because everybody has their flashes available. It's going to be a very mobile fight. Everybody's ready for this, and there's no real advantage that you can capitalize on. Even if ForeEVERZENZYG get a pick on somebody, they can still just flash right out of it if it's not a full combo destruction.
Yeah. What I do have to commend ForeEVERZENZYG on, though, is that you actually mentioned all the flashes being up. This also means that ForeEVERZENZYG have made sure they have not gotten caught ever since that last team fight. They've had to give up turrets that, like, you just have to, like a tier 2 with a 10,000 gold deficit is free. You cannot contest those properly. And outside of trying to find individual picks, which I think maybe they could have at some point in this game, the fact they're not limping into fights, like, stupidly is the right kind of thing.
And the Scrying Orb from Kobe shows the Baron, but that's all it's going to do for a short while. There's pink wards just lining this area. Fine. Contesting it. Rolling head off on the side. At the same time, though, Dragon's being done by Smitty.
All right, you know, that's safe. He's got TP. He can get out. It's going to take him some time, to be honest. You're seeing actually he's losing the battle slightly. Of course, Dragon, as of a few months ago, does % damage reduction instead of % attack speed reduction. So it hurts people like Rise pretty badly. Oh, well. He tried. Rollick head. He sees there's a pink ward there, so he knows he can't slink in too far.
He also sees them.
Yeah.
Oh, he knows they're not actually
doing the
the Baron.
And SKP have no idea they didn't get seen here.
Yeah, because they can't see Evelynn yet.
They're still waiting. But, you know, the thing is, this is fine. SKP are split pushing with Rise. They will pull attention. Mid lane will push in. They will at some point require significant attention elsewhere by ForeEVERZENZYG, and at that point, it's a Baron. Unless you get outsmited.
Yeah. Kikis has a better record in smites this game, though. Is this ForeEVERZENZYG's chance to get back in the game?
It only takes one. Goes in for the damage. TP comes in as well for Rise, but not going to find much. Lulu back in the base, but she has teleport as well. SK Prime do go back to Baron, but they're now a couple of spells down. 2 ultis were, actually 3 ultis were burned for that. For none for ForeEVERZENZYG. This is the kind of fight that they might want. Flash goes in. Nice knockback there by Sencooks, but doesn't get caught. He just might, and there's the Cataclysm. A massive one at that. They trade 1 for 1 so far. Shotgun catches on to 2. These are more fights going SKP's way. They're going to find 4 kills here only. Wonderwear's alive.
It's a huge Smitty there with so many levels in this game. 2 over Wonderwear. We see him right there trying to get him off the field. Teleporting.
He knows.
He knows he's done.
He knows. That's going to be the game. Zhonya's pop. There's a surrender vote as well. SKP finally bait out the Baron fight, and they play it properly. 29-minute victory. A fast one. A very well-played one. SKP up 1-0.
Yeah, they knew what their win conditions were. They just had a team fight, show up at the Dragons, and test, and then they come out on top. Kikis did a very good job of setting up the lanes in the early game and then snowballing off of that.
Yeah, and I guess I got to apologize for SKP a little bit. I was a little bit concerned when they won Dragon Fight number 1 and then waited for 6 minutes for Dragon Fight number 2 because I'm always concerned when you're like, we're just not going to do anything, and don't worry, Dragons will do it for us. Because picks happen and games slip away from your fingers sometimes. But that second Dragon Fight was everything. They were a team fight-based composition, as you pointed out in the early game there. And they found the team fight. Said, if you fight us at Dragon, it'll be horrible for you guys. That's exactly what happened. Gotta say, a well-played game.
Yeah, and that 6-minute lull, I do chalk it up to the fact that they're kind of using Kikis' play style, where he's capitalizing off of bad moves or moves that aren't ideal, and really turning it in his team's favor instead of forcing something and being like, we've been around for 6 minutes, I'm just going to do something because I have to do something. Yeah. There's a lot of top junglers that are like that. Kikis has a slightly different style.
Yeah, he seemed to be pretty smart about it. There was the one bad blue buff force. That one's shame on you, but otherwise... Otherwise, yeah, a largely great game. And I do love the early invade that he played. Because here's the cool thing. The early invade SKP, they trinket warded the entire western jungle. They warded the entire blue buff side. They knew Eve started red. There are so many cool mind games here. Because, first of all, Kobe and Sweaty B did not leash Evelyn's red. They were in the lane right away because they got the early push, so they weren't down in level, so they actually got to hold up CS the first few waves. Like that was, I think, the right choice strategically. It does slow down Evelyn, but again, it put their duel in a decent spot. Kikis sees this. He sees no leash, and he knows she started red and says, I can get to you in time. Goes across the map, gets there when Dragon's still fairly, like, blue buff isn't smiteable yet. Uses all that information to make the right choice and start that invade, and that sets a lot of the game into motion.
And that's one of those tiny things, too, where if you don't get a leash, you're going to use more potions, and you only get 4 right now.
True.
The Hunter's Machete.
Yeah.
So he's running out of HP in his inventory and in his health bar, so that if you invade him, you do a little bit of damage. Even if you hit him once or twice, you got Martial Cadence, you're going to chunk him down a tiny bit.
Yep.
He has to back off of that objective. And the fact that Senkux came in and was able to help them pick it up was the big part of that.
Yeah, so overall, very well played game. Yeah, I mean, and again, a lot of things cascaded on. You talk about the fact that Kikis capitalizes on his team's good plays and his opponent's misplays. Did so. Very well done game. Under 30 minutes, again, is a remarkably fast score. So GG well played to SKP. Guys, going to take a quick break, but when we return, it's time for Game 2 between SK Gaming Prime and 4EVERZENZYG. Don't go anywhere.